Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Backpack Trader Training Room for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Please note the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and information purposes only. It is not financial advice. Trade your charts, not mine. Trading of this type carries substantial risks and should only be attempted with funds you can afford to do without. All right. This is our only session today. There's a new short trade on Micro Russell. That just triggered, so it's a little bit early yet. Down 3, and looks like it's going to go money management on us. Yep. 0. Through with a get in sync long, hit target 1 and trailing for the position, target 2 position. So this will be a one and done session. Unleaded got into a long at 901 or at 902.08 for the setup. Definitely in the trade. Picked up targets 1 and 2 depending on which you're trading. 44 or 68 ticks. And looks like we got 89.94 on the trailer. So 42 ticks on the trailer. 110 ticks for target 2 traders. 86 for target 1. One and done session for unleaded. So we'll bring up micro in queue. That's in a long that's gone too far. So that one is off the table. In fact, it's just stopped out. Pound Aussie get in sync short from way back when. Trade set up at what, 320.54. Just recently had a long trade that didn't trigger. Had several longs that were filtered by the squeeze zone. We are short now. Just hit the entry to get in sync. Market is open. YM with a short trade. I would call that a get in sync on the YM. That was a little too fast to execute, I would expect. There's a long. If you're not in, it's going to go to 56. Actually, we're still in, still short, still valid as well. Did we just entry was 36 and we got to now the long cancel. We've got another long now that just triggered, popped through. So we won't let it target 1. And that's going to be no full risk still on the trade. And we missed getting the short entry by 1 tick. So that's the first trade. Wait 4 minutes on the micro NQ. Micro Russell picked up the long trade. That goes to target. Now a short trade. So win on trade number 1. Short goes to money management. Trailing, I won't worry with trying to find exactly where that was. 1 tick from target. YM ends up taking a full stop out on the long. And Micro Russell, target 4 and still trailing. Final position trailing at 41.1. Long trade on Micro NQ stops out for a break even. That's still too early. We wait 4 minutes after market open to start that plan, just because it tends to be pretty volatile right at the open. And Micro Russell stops out at 40.6. Soybeans has a short trade set up. Crude stop moves up to 60.29. Still early. Actually, we're still a couple minute and a half or so early on the Micro NQ. Long trade setup, triggered in. I'd push that up a tick. It's definitely in now. And it's got a wick on it, so 1.7 to target 1. So that's going to be plenty for our target 2 is not quite big enough, so we'll still go to target 3. Okay. That trade actually is off the table. It went to touch the entry, then came back and stopped out. So that's a no trade. Should be a no trade. Micro NQ pushing down. Still about 25 seconds from our start time there. Short on the Micro Russell. That just triggered in. Just a little bump down. Got us in. And it's got to come down 3 ticks. So it's going to be a 0.5. Triggers in. Micro NQ, nice trade. Too early for us to be involved in. YM picked up a short. It is on to target. $34 tick target. What was our loss on that prior trade? 47 tick risk, so that's going to be 74 tick loss. We pick up 34 on the target, so that leaves us down 40. New short on soybeans that just triggered in. Came up a tick, a little smaller trade. It's still not a small trade. 11 ticks to target 1. We are on the January contract for soybeans now. And we take a quick full loss on micro NQ. Pull back and set up long. I think we're about to get a setup short. We took a full loss on the micro Russell long, or short as well. Now with a long trade, or another short trade, I'm sorry. Down another 0.3, that's 0.5. We have hit money management. So that's a break even, I believe. Yep, that's an intra-bar break even. So break even on that one, win, no trade, loss, break even, 3 trades. That's another loss on the micro Rust NQ. That's 2 losses. We can take 1 more loss or 4 more trades. There's a long trade. That's target 2. So micro NQ and along, micro Russell and along. Micro Russell hits money management. Exactly right. I'm not going to worry too much with it right now. And that's another break even on the micro Russell. So trade number 4, win, loss, break even, money management, and all rejected the 200 on the micro NQ. Target 2, 722.5. We got as high as 721 3/4, missing by 3 ticks. We are at break even. That's a pound Aussie has a stop and reverse potential entry at 116. 2 tick stop and reverse adjustment plus a tick for, or 2 pip stop and reverse adjustment plus a pip for key level. Micro NQ stops out, sets up a short trade. That just triggered in. Plenty of time to have the order in on that one. Micro Russell is short now. That's hit money management, pushing for target. This is trade number 5. And we came down 3 to 26.0. We did get money management, so that's another money management trade. Long trade, touch the entry, second chance, so we're in the trade. Final trade of the morning. Up 2 ticks this time, 41. And we stop out. So that third loss and also the 6th trade. So the micro Russell is done. Still short on the micro NQ, still short on the pound Aussie, short on soybeans. All right, we got a partial on the YM. Then we take a full loss on the long. Target 1 and a partial. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 trades on the YM. We're definitely going to still be negative a little bit. Stop and reverse is off the table. Let's hit its stop. Actually, it had a couple of closes below the balance line now. Crude came back, hit the stop. So that is done for the 9 a.m. session. We will have a 10 a.m. session today. Micro NQ with a long trade. This one's got a wick on it. This might moving rapidly now. Yeah, target 1 was big enough for a target. And target 2. So we go target 1, 2, and 3 rather than 2, 3, and 4 on this trade. This one's doing quite nicely. Trailing at 747. Soybeans taking some heat. $7.50 flat for the micro NQ stop. Soybeans did stop out. Full loss on that trade. Crude and unleaded are finished. Micro Russell is done. YM is 4 trades in. It's going to be down a little bit. See, we're 40 down. Get on the trailer here. After target on this trade. 069. To 053, 16 ticks. We're down 24. Then we take a full loss of another 84. So we're down 108. Micro NQ stops out. So we go break even. We didn't get target 2 on this. No. Didn't quite get target 2 on this one. So we go break even, stop and reverse. Actually, let's see. Yeah, we had loss, break even, and that's a third loss. So that actually would end the session. We wouldn't be in this trade. But this trade has hit a nice target 1 and target 2, stopping out. So that's as far as I'll follow the micro NQ. And actually, we've been done with the session 1 trade earlier. Pound Aussie bounced off the session open. Session open at 089. 0089. Fast action this morning. So we have soybeans, the pound Aussie, and the YM. Oh, wait a minute. YM's. All right, so we're down 108, and we pick up 26, so we're down 82. And entry was 41, 44, down 79 after 4. And then we pick up the long trade. Looks like it's going to do something. Okay, short didn't trigger. Long goes target 1. For 37. So 49, 42. Plus the entry was 181. Yeah, looks like 194. So 13 ticks. 32.29. That was 5. 6 would have been the long. That takes a stop and reverse exit, and we end up slightly negative on the 6 trade session. So that finishes off the YM. We'll look for a 10 a.m. crude mini session. Pound Aussie is short. Soybeans is flat. So crude 10 a.m. session coming. Pound Aussie and soybeans remaining charts. Everything else is done. Pound Aussie and soybeans tend not to be real fast movers most of the time, judging by the fact that we're in a trade from like 2 a.m. something. Anyway, we're back in the original trade there. Yeah, 3:21 a.m. basically. 3:20. Just coming close to money management. Money management is A56. 2 ticks away. 85.8 is our low on that bar. We've got another bar. No, we don't. Oh, we got 1 tick away. How? Are we going to get there? It is. There's money management. $104, so we come to 103. For the stop, and then it moves on down, trailing already to 101. And target 1. So that's going to be a one and done. We'll move our target down to target 2. Next goal. Trade's not even, that's why I mark up the trades with lines, because they're not even on the chart anymore. Stop moves down. 0.96. And it's going to stay there unless we get a pretty good move here. Coming up on it's like 0.09 maybe. Let's see what the targets are. Target 1 was worth 21 pips. Target 2 is 7.1, worth 3.33. Under 4 minutes for our 10 a.m. crude mini session. Crude bounces. Unleaded in a nice successful trade, but that got one and done on its first trade anyway. Crude hadn't been successful in its first one. The second one would have gotten you. Oh, it definitely gotten you positive. Pound Aussie still short. Testing its session lows. Session low at 72.7. We need to get down to 71 for target 2. 21 pips already in hand. And we go from 104. So we got 8 pips times 4 positions on the trailer at the moment. So 32 pips on the trailer already. All right, stop didn't move on that bar on the pound Aussie. Let's see. It's an 8-pip bar, 81.9, so we'll go to 89.9. So if it closes up at this point, stop will not move. It will close above the balance line. If it closes down, the stop will move to 92. And there's a up close, so stop did not move. Stop remains at 96. Balance line now down to 87.1, so stop would come to 91 currently if with a down close below the balance line. But at the moment it stays at 96. Into the 10 a.m. crude session. Still following the trailer on this trade, so we'll mark it up and see where we were. Hit target 2 on the nose, it looks like. That's not what I remember. It was up there. This is the one that was it. Micro Russell and the YM both with pretty good up moves. YM still around 1,000 points below the all-time high it set last week. The week before. And we have a stop out. We did come to 92, and then we came, or 91 rather, yeah. So we stop out on pound Aussie at 091, 21 pips on target, 04 to 91, 13 times 4, 52 pips on the trailer with 4 positions. So 73 pips on the pound Aussie this morning. Short trade on soybeans. I wasn't watching that too carefully and snuck in on us. Target 2 is right at the session low. So crude looking for a 10 a.m. trade. Soybeans is short. Crude stopping out of the earlier trade. Short trade would be filtered here. We're going to need 2 more bars before we get it anyway. Actually, short trade might not end up being filtered after the second bar. right, soybeans. Our risk was 7, so down 17 points. That's a pretty healthy loss there. Right. Okay. Now I know we're 52. Okay. Short trade on crude would be filtered by the squeeze zone. Soybeans, target 1. We come to break even. There's target 2 as well. 17.5. The trailer. We pick up, yeah, 6 tick minimum. So 6 and 10. Just 4 points on those two targets. See if we can get down to, there's target 3. So still down 13 points. We have another 3.5 points available on tap at target 3. Need one more tick. Need 14.5. Good morning. Good morning, Josh. No problem. That one's actually been slow all morning, and all of a sudden it got quick. We're looking for a trade on the 10 o'clock crude session. Otherwise, everything else is done. So go ahead and ask. Soybean just kind of went bang, bang, bang. We should be able to get. I saw your last question on Discord. I just haven't had a chance to answer it yet. I'll do that when we get off of here. Oh, that's not nice. Short trade on crude. Not squeeze zone because 50 is beyond target 1. Target 1 is too small. I would filter that for the 50 because our goal target would be target 2, and the 50 is between that and the entry. So I would not take that trade. Yep, you're on the right track. Yep. Okay, let me ask this question. How is your risk tolerance? CADX tends to be smaller trades because it's a single bar setup. Versus cloud control, which is typically a 3-bar setup. So you're going to typically have larger trades. Plus, you're always going to have a reversal bar included in the if you're running custom Renko bars for cloud control, you're always going to have a reversal bar among those three. So you're going to typically get a little larger trades. Either you're going to get larger trades, or you're going to need to use a larger bar on CADX to get that kind of trade, those kind of trade sizes. All right, given that, I would start working with cloud control. As far as something to learn the strategy with, I would look at crude, because that typically gives you more examples to work with. But I think you had mentioned that you were interested in looking at the Russell, either running the Russell or the micro Russell. So that's another possibility. No, not really. CADX is fairly simple, because it's just it's a straight. You watch for a cross of cat lines, and typically beyond an EMA filter to keep you from getting caught up in noise sometimes. It's somewhat more. It definitely is somewhat more complicated, but it really isn't any more difficult to learn. All right, crude. As I said, I would treat this short as filtered, because of the fact that we're going to go to target 2, and that's below the 50, and it touched the entry and is going the wrong way. So far that is seems to be a valid decision. This would be what that trade looks like right now on Spotlight. Get back down here. Money management on the 50 row, on not. Yes, that's true. And part of that is what, and that's a good starting point, because it is a very simple simple strategy. Single bar setup. Look, it's a cross is the only setup. There aren't other setups you got to worry about. But neither one, the cloud control is not difficult to learn. It does have a few more moving parts and more options. Catapult tends to be more of a scalp and run type of strategy, versus cloud control. It's primarily a entry and target. Because on CADX, you definitely would usually want to run a trailing position, because CADX can definitely get on some runs on whatever chart you're looking at it. But cloud control tends to do better with the fixed targets, rather than trying to trail on most markets we've looked at. There are more setup types and some more options on on file control, but I think it's overall a better strategy. CADX was something, or the catapult strategy is something that he did, basically started or released right around the beginning of COVID, because he was looking to do something that was simple to learn, because we have a lot of people coming to trading brand new because of the lockdowns and what have you. And so that was the premise behind CADX. It was supposed to be a very simple strategy. It was a good starter for a lot of people. But then this next strategy, that catapult came out initially in market-based modules, but then ultimately Catapult Extreme, that was not limited to a particular market. But they all work. All the catapults work the same. And we pick up target 3 on soybeans for another 3.5 points. That's 7.5 points of our 13. So we're still down 5.5 points. We have the trailing position on for 1 tick at this point. And that's what we'll still follow. Coming very close to the I think there should be some trade. I'm pretty sure there's some trade plans with cloud control. I haven't looked on the owner site lately, but I'm pretty sure there's a section for trade plans on there. But there again, you bet, as far as learning a strategy, making the trade plan yours will give you much more confidence in the trade plan. Kind of do a little bit of customization that makes you more comfortable with it, and B, you learn the strategy better and you have more confidence in it, so that if it does go through a drawdown period, you're more likely to stay with it rather than trying to quit and move on to something else. As if you test it properly, you'll recognize that or if you have a good trade plan, it should test and then back test it to consistently set session or equity highs, but then as you forward test it, doing your 25 in a row without a mistake and that kind of thing, you should find that you'll develop belief in it. Anytime it does draw down, it will eventually won't take too long to come back to new equity highs. So it continues to grow the account, and that's what we're after, is growing the account. All right, crude did stop out on that trade. So that just touched the entry and turned the other way. So one thing we did, I would have said filter that and not gotten into it. So, plus you have this swing right in front of that setup, just 1 tick below, and the 20 below that. There's just, you'd want to adjust around some things, and the trade's not big enough to do that. Plus, because of its small size, it actually didn't get filtered. So I would call that one one to avoid. That's one of those 5% art things. All right, looks like soybeans is about to move the stop down to 17 flat, and our entry was at 18, so that'll bring us to 1 point. Soybeans and crude. Crude, looking for the first trade I would be taking in the 10 a.m. mini session. This short trade is actually in the 10 a.m. session, but for the reasons we've already discussed, that one I would have avoided. Good morning, Mark. You any time now. I don't know if I can help you too much with file control in NinjaTrader because I haven't got it loaded yet. I've got to get my issues sorted out with my custom module stack before I can load it. Yeah, we're the only things we've got going are soybeans and crude, so not real busy right now. So now's a good time to ask questions. But yeah, Josh, my suggestion would be if you want to go ahead and start with file control, I would sit in the Mike's room at if you can get in at 8 o'clock for him to trade gold, or 8:50 crude start. He's really looking at file control or the new. He's really liking Sammy's new plan, and that seems to be working quite well for, especially if you have a little bit lower risk tolerance. What was your question, Mark? There's another tick down on the trailer for soybeans. Hey, you were in Mike's Zoom yesterday, right? But yeah, he'll be running file control. File control is one of the things that he runs that on crude, and they'll look at it on gold. He doesn't typically look at it on the Russell, but you might talk him into doing that. But yeah, don't be so worried about a done for you trade plan, because as part of learning to trade is learning to have confidence in your trade plan so that you don't abandon it when there is drawdown, and there will be drawdown. You're not always going to be at at equity highs. In fact, the percentage of time you're actually at equity highs is actually fairly low. So don't be too stuck on it. Now look at some examples, but build your own trade plan. That's really where you learn to trust your plan. All right, soybeans down to 11.16 flat. That's another point. Down to 3.5 points down after 2 trades, or in the midst of the second trade here. Considering we lost 17 points on the first trade, we're doing good. Let's see. For crude, yes. 2.614 for Unirenco. For RTY, you're probably going to want to be something, I'm using a 1.5.5 on Catapult for the micro Russell, which is a 15.5 and or 5.10 25. But I would probably, you may want to look at that and see if the trades are, you have enough trades. Three-step sniff test. Okay. Do you have enough trades? Are they appropriate size? And is the pace reasonable to trade it? But yeah. So okay, I'm sorry, I'm confusing. Josh was the one looking at Mike Russell. Yeah, for crude it would be 2.614. Okay, let's see. I believe I have I think this one may be this. No, I don't have a crude. Unirenco chart, but yes. Oh yeah. Once if you lose a handle, I found the easiest way to get get your handles straightened out, because NinjaTrader does always work in pairs essentially. If you delete one, you lose one side of an OCO, you lose both sides. I would cancel all the stops, because that's going to cancel all of your handles. Then you go to the control panel. And I have live stuff in the control panel. But you'll go to the control panel, and under the positions tab, you can right click on the position that you lost your handles on. And the very first item is apply ATM strategy. And you can just reapply the whole ATM strategy to that position. And if you've already had a target come off, then you should have some additional templates set up for different times you may need to use that. So if you're trading, just two targets or what have you, have both a 2 fixed and a 1 fixed in case you have to reset after you've hit one target. And I don't have any positions on right now to show it other than stock positions. No, not on the chart. On the chart, you go ahead and close all your stops. So the little X on the stops, to cancel all the stops, and that'll cancel all of your handles. Then go to your control panel. Right click on the positions tab. Right click on that position, the position that you want to get your handles back for. Yeah. So the next step is on the control panel, positions tab. Right click on the position you need to get your handles back on. The very first item in that context menu is going to be apply ATM strategy. If you hover over that, you'll get a list of all of your ATM strategies, and you select the appropriate one to put all of that. And if you have it set up for 2 fixed or fixed targets with a trailer, whatever it is, you can put the ATM strategy back onto the trade, back on the position, based on how many positions you have at that point. So if you've got a multi-position strategy, you want to set up ATMs for your full target trade and each of the reduced positions after you hit targets, to be able to go back in at any particular point. All right. Long setup on crude. Not a big, let's see. Yeah, not a big trade. Another case of targets 2 and 3. 60, 61. There's money management just over target 1. So we'll go to target 2 and 3. And now we have a short trade. Long didn't trigger. Short hasn't triggered either, so both are still valid. So what we'll do, so that one there, I'll put the stop on the short. We'll see what triggers in. Actually, same situation on the short side. I wouldn't, that's another one, exactly the same situation as the last one. It's not filtered because target 1 is below or above the 50. but our gold target is going to be target 2, and I would filter that one out. So I would stay with the long trade possibility. One, it will cancel with another close below the balance line, although now it's up above the balance line again. We'll see. But I would ignore the short trade. I still have some live trading on, Mark, so that's the only reason I'm not bringing the control panel over on screen. So I would need to disconnect my live account data feeds or live account feeds before my live interactive brokers account. Just disconnect that before I bring the a control panel over. But right now, I don't have any active positions I've got active trade setups. Well, let's see. Nope, soybeans did stop out at 11 and a half, 15 and a half. We have a potential long trade now. So let's see, we've got 11 and a half from 18. So 5.5 points. Yeah, that's right. We got down to target 2, which was ten ticks, 8.5 tick. No, not 8, 2.5 points. 18 to 15, yeah, 18 to 15, 15 and a half. So yeah, 2.5 points. On top of our 7.5. Now 10, so we're down 3 points at this point. But yeah, and it's not just the new targets. You got to set up targets and stops to do with NinjaTrader to do that. It's not like TradeStation. You don't lose but one handle. You lose both when you lose one. I find that at least right now, what I'm seeing against Mike's TradeStation, my price levels are usually a tick below, and I think it's because I'm running bid prices on everything, and I suspect the TradeStation data right now is defaulting to last price. Because when I compare it to the last price indicator on the dome, it's almost perfect. And that's why I think that there is often a one tick difference in our likes in my data. It's 1 to 2, so which actually it strengthens that even more. And then, that's because you're actually looking for, and then Troy is a proponent of that, is you should be trading on the bid price, not the last price, or charting on the bid price. The long is still valid. One tick from the entry. There's the entry. So long on crude. So targets 2 and 3 are our working targets here. But based on what I'm seeing, that's what I'm thinking based on what I'm seeing with Mike's charts. I haven't really been in enough situations with Troy to be able to compare it, because I haven't been in a live room with him in quite a while. But yeah, you'll notice that all the charts that I'm showing are bid price, including the Unirinkos. And I always select price based on bid. But there's the 5, 10, 25 on the micro Russell. Okay, soybeans. Looking for the long trade. Needing another trade to get positive. All right, stop is 1 tick above the session low. Given the value of the ticks on soybeans, I'll go ahead and adjust that 1 tick below the session low. So I'll take it down to 12 1/4. It's a 2 tick adjustment. Not going to make it much more than that. And that's a $25 adjustment per contract. And this is a 4-contract trade, so it's a $100 adjustment right there in the risk. Okay, folks, it's 10:42. I've got to get ready for an appointment, so I'm going to have to call it a morning. Tuesday is my day, and that I have a standing appointment, and I have to get out of here. So hate to cut things off when we got good discussions going, but I'm going to have to leave. So everybody have a good rest of your morning, and I will see everybody. Okay, are you talking about exiting a single position? It's one tick short of a target. Thank you, Josh. if you have a position that comes within one tick that you want to exit, that's when I would have a dome set up with a single target, or actually with no targets, no ATM strategy set. Uh, set your number of contracts to whatever your position sizes are, and you just use the market in buttons on that. What I would personally do in doing that is I would cancel my existing target, just hit the X. I don't have any on here, but I just hit the little X on chart trading to cancel the target. That'll also cancel the corresponding stop, and then go to that single order dome and just do a market buy or sell depending on the direction of the trade you're exiting for the position size, and that will bring you back to whatever that will exit that position. You're probably going to lose a tick or two by the time you do that. But the thing you don't want to do is have it hit the target and you do that, so you end up taking out two positions. Well, you don't need to cancel the stop separately, because that's why I cancel the target. The target will cancel the stop in NinjaTrader. You don't cancel one or the other. When you cancel one, you cancel both. And it's easier to get at. The target will usually be separate from other things, so it's easier to get at that easier and faster to get at that, rather than to actually try to get at the stop, because the stop takes a right click and select the right one. The target is going to be separate, so you just click to cancel on that one, and then you've killed both the target and the stop. All right, you have a good one, Mark, and we will see everybody tomorrow morning at 9:30.